Hello, everybody. It is Friday, November the 1st. We made it to November. Man, the
First,
year whew,
it's
is
over.
almost
Merry
gone.
Christmas.
Okay. Listen, Halloween is over and done. If y'all have not been to the store to get that candy that's 50%, hopefully, then y'all better run. But no, I am Keisha. I'm one half of the host of the Regal Mindset podcast show. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get to our guests.
Absolutely. I am Joy, the coach. I am your millionaire, your mystic, your mindset transformer, and I am glad to be here on the first. Today is a magical day, believe it or not. So I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, today we have a lovely guest to join us. So to help us talk about the subject that we've got going on,
Ooh,
Keita,
this
go
is a
ahead and
good one.
introduce. Okay, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go ahead and get into the conversation.
Well, greetings. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
My name is Kina. I don't know, where do I start at? A little bit about myself. I'm a retired Navy vet. I'm currently a clinical mental health counselor, right? I have two wonderful boys, ages 23 and 20, right? And I'm just living life on my terms right now. I'm
Okay.
living and enjoying life right now on my terms. And I will say
I
it
like
feels
that.
absolutely amazing.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love it. I love where you are right now. So let's get into the subject, right? So tonight's conversation, we're talking about from fear to freedom, right? Coming
Okay.
out as an adult, right? So I know I have a particular story. Keena's going to share a little bit of her story. I know, Jay, you said there was never really a time when you had the opportunity to kind of come out. So
Never.
we'll get to that too, and we can talk about it. But so coming out as an adult, I'll give us a little bit of backstory. Keena and myself have worked together some years ago. So she and I were both in the Navy. And at that time, I was closeted because obviously for those reasons, at the
Maybe.
time it was don't ask, don't tell. So, right. So I could
Right.
not live in my authentic life. However, Keena did meet the young lady that I was seeing at that time. And, she was aware of my personal life outside of our uniform. And then of course I know her family and her kids, so I've known her for quite some time. But yeah, so share with me your ventures and your journey along this path. We'll call it the rainbow. So kind of tell us how you arrived at this particular place in life.
Wow. I don't even think I know. I don't even think I know. That's the crazy part, right?
It
So
just
here we
happened.
are, a woman married twice,
Okay.
and I can just speak honestly at some point
Yeah, yeah.
thinking, oh no, you can't like women, like, well, you're going to
Mhm.
hell. Like, that's not an option for you. Like, you
Right.
cannot do that. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So I've always, and again, I'm speaking honest, I've always not necessarily judge those who are in same sex relationships, but I was just kind of like, you're weird. Like, that's not how it's supposed to be for many
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
Again, being married twice and coming from a Christian household, a background, a family where that's against, you can't do that or you're going to hell. That's not how God designed us to be. So if I can just going into, so my first marriage, I'm just speaking frankly, my first marriage was amazing. Well, considering it was my high school sweetheart, so that kind of happened because of my kids. Then my second marriage, you need to get married because you can't be a single parent with no kids. You have to get married. So I was kind of not necessarily forced into that marriage, but persuaded in a sense. So I
Okay.
got married again. Needless to say, that didn't work out. So here I'm again now. Like, what is life? Like, what is life now? Like, I'm divorced twice. I got these kids now grown. What is life? And I met this woman who was just nothing, just as friends initially. And
That's how it always starts.
and feelings just started happening. I was just like, wait a minute. This ain't right. I can't do this. I'll go to hell. Like, this cannot be right. What am I feeling right now? Like, I'm trying to talk myself out this day, like, Kino, this can't be how it is. But I could not shake the thoughts and the feelings for the life of me. I
She put
couldn't.
that good thing on you. Go ahead.
So as time goes on, the bond gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mhm.
And here we are 3 years in. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's been easy because
Okay.
initially we can't put this out. Like, don't put me on Facebook, don't post me. I'm not gonna post
Right.
you. Let's keep this on. We can't put this out because I'm not ready for that just yet.
Ah,
Right.
Mister, she was just like, hold on now. You can't have me for too long with that. Hold on.
Right.
I was just like, okay, well, shit, put it on Facebook. So I've never believed in coming out per se
Mhm.
because you like who you like. Like, when
right.
I always said, straight people don't come out. So I've never
Right.
believed in just coming out, in a sense. So I like who I like. I've always been straightforward on that. But here I am now. Now, as a result of coming out, I got a lot of rejection.
Mhm.
I got a
From
from my from some of my closest family members.
okay.
Told,
Wow.
I was even told, and I'm just being honest and putting everything because I'm walking in my truth at this point.
Right.
I was even told by my father, I didn't raise you like this.
Mm.
Doing. I've always been a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
So that hit me deep. So dealing with that and the friends just distancing themselves and being judged by family. And I mean, I've never felt so judged now that I did ever in my life. Like
Yeah.
the
Mm.
judgment is crazy. The putting you out, like you're not good enough for us because you're dating a woman is
Oh man.
crazy. So I've experienced a lot, but Keisha, you know me. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. Take it or leave it. I'm gonna walk
Yeah.
in my truth. So all that to say, although it was initially very hard, and even till this day, still hard to some degree. I've always been a very look here. This is who I am. Take it or leave it type of person. Um, but I'm still learning to adjust to the side that you give when you go in public.
Okay. Okay.
Um, just the judgment that comes from that. I just recently had a family member that died yesterday.
Okay.
Mm. Sorry to hear
Sorry for
that.
your loss.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. And to support me, my partner said, I'll go with you to the funeral. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, yeah, great. But you know what's playing in the back of my mind?
Yeah. How the family gonna take it?
How that's going to look. How
Yeah.
that's going to make me feel. So I'm still processing that.
Okay.
I'm still going to do it because, again, I'm going to walk in my truth. But in my back of my mind, I'm still going to be like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Here I am now,
Right.
just living my life on my terms
Right.
and walking in my truth,
Right.
and not letting anybody else define what I define as normal,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
here I am
Mm.
now.
Mm.
Well, the first thing that come to mind, Kina, is, and we've kind of talked about it just like real briefly, but have you experienced any emotional things in the relationship with a woman versus a man? Anything that you didn't expect?
Ooh, yes.
Oh,
Emotionally,
you just opened up. You just like, oh yes,
I'm putting it on the table today. I told you, right?
tell us.
Um, Women tend to be more emotionally responsive.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So you
Mhm.
can't just walk in and not say nothing like I'm used to doing before. Like, you don't talk to me, I don't talk to you. We good. You
Right.
go in the other room, I go in this room.
You
Now
better say
we
something.
got to talk about this. I'm just like, just go somewhere. We good, right? No, she want to talk about this. I'm just like, so I mean, it's different in terms of emotional responses. That's
Okay.
different because women are just going to be women. But
Right.
other than that, nothing too much.
Okay. All right. So I would like to think that, being in the Lady Pond, I think I was 20, I think
The lady pond.
22, right?
The
So
lady pond,
22,
right?
22, 23, right? Before I ventured out and allowed myself to live in my authentic truth, right? But I guess I'm posing the question to, do the women treat you better in terms of relating in relationships better than the relationships that you have with men? Does that make sense?
I'm going to say
Or is it
yes.
different?
No, I'm going to this, and again, I have not been in tons of women. This is my
Sure.
first
Right.
relationship, so I will say that absolutely, yes, there is a difference. I
Okay.
mean, absolutely, there is a difference.
That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So now, Jay, I know that you shared with us before in the past that there's no, like you said, there's not really a time or a moment where you just came out, right?
Mm.
But you have shared with us, that you've been in same-sex relationships before in the past. So my question is like, how did you not have to, not so much explain, but kind of let people know that something is perhaps not different, or perhaps different from what they're used to?
Okay,
Maybe.
so real quick, I'm I've been blessed for two reasons.
Okay.
One, I've been given the great gift of I don't give a fuck. So it never bothered
That
me
part.
when nobody
That
thought.
part.
So
Okay.
because of that, I can honestly say maybe that is what kept the side looks away from me. Because I don't care. I never did. I never sought anybody for their acceptance of my life. Um, so with that being said, I never had a coming out story. It was kind of like here I was.
Here I am. That's right.
Everybody, I'm a gold star lesbian. I've never been with a man in a sexual way. I've kissed
Oh,
one twice and I gagged on the second kiss. So I knew at that point it wasn't for me. I was like, wait, hold on, sir. What are we doing? I was engaged in everything because born and raised in the church, being a minister, being a preacher, being an elder, everything, you supposed to get married. And I
yeah.
had one of the most handsome men in our entire region. I know I did. He was 6'4", and I like men, they're good. He was 6'4", 308 pounds, and I'm only 5'5". So, I felt all protected and loved and stuff. He was light skinned. He was Indian and Mexican and black mixed. I just knew I was going to have all his babies in my head. I knew it, but I didn't know how that was going to happen because I'm like, I don't even want him on top of me. So during the whole church time, we was engaged. My pastor and them gave they sign off on, and and I had to have that conversation with him because after that second kiss, I was like, this is not feeling right. And when I talked to him, he was like, it's okay. That's because you're a virgin. You will get used to it. And I said, I said, I can marry you. I can keep your house. I can even mustered up enough strength to give you a baby, but this is not what I want. And I loved him, but I loved him enough to let him know, boo boo, it ain't, I can't do it. I don't feel nothing other than the respect for you. You're a man of God. And I think that was the attraction. You can preach, you prophesying, you playing he was playing the drums, I'm playing the keyboard, we battling musically. He can preach, I can preach. It was like all of that. But it was nothing about his body. Like when I see a ding dong, I'm like, oh, like what is we doing here? So that never was me. So when it came down to my family, I thought I was going to get rejection because my grandfather, who is Bishop, he passed away. So for Bishop John D. Wesley of Holy Bible Church of God, Pentecostal Holiness, when am I coming up here with another woman? He was more mad because I came in pants than he was the fact that I had a whole wife.
Oh.
He didn't even care. My mom had an issue because one of my first girlfriends was her friend. So I could see why she was mad.
Clearly.
Yeah, I can get that. My dad walked me down the aisle in my tuxedo with him in his. And we looked absolutely amazing. So I sympathize with people who've had those horror stories. I've never had that. Or maybe I was just so oblivious that I didn't care. Even when, and I did not become sexually active until my mid-20s with a woman, even though I knew that I liked women. But I was so focused on ministry and God and church and preaching and all of that, I just didn't date. And we was taught you don't have sex till you married. So that was already a keeper. So it was kind of like, I know I ain't gonna have sex with nobody because I ain't married yet. Then when I'm 21 and engaged, and I'm like, I don't even want him to hold my hand. Like it don't even feel right. And I went through that, and then I went to Atlanta, and next thing you know, the dog was out the cage at that point. Atlanta would bring out the best and the worst. And if you ain't gay when you get there, I promise you, you're gonna be gay when you leave. And
Wow.
so that's how it was. And even to this day, you know, I've had two issues that I can really say was very discriminatory. One at my job, because they never had nobody like me. So when I went to register for benefits,
Mm,
they didn't cover same-sex couples.
okay.
So we had to work through that. The second one was at a club. When I went there with all this good gracious and hips and everything, and you know, and I think at that, you know, I dress androgynous, but I think I had on a blazer. And he was like, I need to pat you down. Man, for what? Well, you look like a man. Bitch line, you know good and well. I had hair. There's nothing about me look like a man but my attitude. And so those are really the only situations I've had. My aunt has made commentary, but I'm like, but you live with a man unmarried for years. Shut up. Because I'm going to give it back the way you gave it. And
Right.
then when we had our daughter, my wife, now she's like you, Keena. She been married. She's spoiled twice before she got to me.
I know
Now
that's
I'm her
right.
third marriage, but she's my first marriage. So
Okay.
she has children from her previous marriage. So she
Right.
was what you would consider the heterosexual. Now she tried to blind me, and I think she trapped me with this baby. And she was telling me, you know, that she ain't never been with no woman, but you know, we got that good, so we throw it on. And that's how we get you, you
You
know.
a mess. I came with you.
But she was almost she had a similar story like you. So
Okay.
it was that, you know, but I think she was a little bit more free because at the end of the day, you know you can't keep me in the closet. What closet? I don't even hang my clothes up. So what closet? You know,
Wow.
see, she on the line now because she know better. But and I think like my family has questioned our relationship, and I invite questions. I rather you
Okay.
ask than assume and disrespect me
Right.
Mm,
and cuss you out.
right. Right.
But I would let you. I
Fair.
love to smoke. I will fight, cuss, cut, and everything else.
Keisha,
But
I
you're
like
not gonna,
her. Look.
yeah, because you're not gonna disrespect my wife and my family.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then they questioned about the birth of our daughter. And I
Right.
told them she's an IUI baby. I was there. You know, she came out of Shady. That's why she looked like her and act like her. You know, so we invite those questions, but I've never had those experiences. I think I'm one of the ones that was blessed with the gift of I don't give a fuck and blessed with a spiritual leader that knew from the beginning who I was, never put my sexuality as an issue, allowed me to be who I was as long as I never was disrespectful.
Right.
Like I didn't date nobody in church. If I did, I dated outside the church. You know, I never caused those problems. And it wasn't about being in private, it was more being discreet. We can
Mm,
go out, we can hug in public, but I'm gonna do it where and I didn't even wear dresses in church. I wore pants. So I just had a beautiful experience. And again, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you think.
Wow.
right. So,
Wow.
Kina, your experience in having the conversation with your parents and your family members, your immediate family members, let me say that.
Right.
How did that go over?
So my mom, if I, she's just more like, look, whatever. Like
Right. She understands.
she, not to say she necessarily agrees with it, but
Okay.
she's just again more like, all right, baby, this is what you want to do. She's never disagreed with me verbally, to
Okay.
my face. I'm sure she has some disdain to it, of course, because she's my mother, but she's never expressed it to me. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, she came down for her birthday last year.
Mm.
Through her big birthday party, she stayed with us. I mean, again, so she came in like we family, so she's never expressed any discomfort or disagreement to me. I'm
Okay.
sure initially it was a shock factor for her, like, this is my baby girl, like, so
Sure.
I not expected that, but she's never again expressed any disinterest or any she's never made me feel uncomfortable for my decision. She's always welcomed me. Okay, baby girl, I got you. I'm here to
Right.
support you. My
Right.
sisters, they go down for whatever. Like, okay, sis, I got you. Um, and again, my father, he was the biggest one that was just like, I ain't raised you like this. We ain't talked for
Mm.
months,
Oh,
probably
wow.
close to a
Wow.
year following. We just now started talking recently.
Okay.
That's only via text. We never really addressed the monkey in the room. It's just
Yeah.
kind of just like, oh, that happened. We ain't gonna bring it up again. So it's never
Yeah.
been addressed. He
Yeah.
said those things to me. We had a pretty intense argument.
Okay.
Hung up on each other. Like, that's it.
Wow.
And that was, I want to say, last year. And we have not spoken about it since then.
Wow. Yeah.
It doesn't come up. And I mean, we just started talking again via text, but nothing about what caused the initial argument has not come up. And I think it's maybe uncomfortable for him.
Right.
I think
Right.
Do
it's
you
Right.
regret it?
huh?
Do you regret your decision because and with the impact that it's had with your family?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I don't. Um, I don't. Because I need you to love me in spite. I mean, I'm not to say he don't love me, but
Right.
I don't know. I just hope there would be a bigger, more acceptance.
Right.
And maybe I didn't expect it to be so in my face.
Okay.
Maybe I expected it to be more behind my back, like, oh, she doing this. I didn't expect it to be right in my face, like, damn, Dad, like, that's how you feel, Daddy. So
Right.
that was a shock for me. But do I regret it? Because this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. And I don't want to live my life behind a wall because
Right.
Sure.
what fair is how is that fair to me?
Right.
So it still stinks a little bit, but do
Sure.
I regret it?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
at all. Not
Okay.
at all.
So
Well,
can I
here.
ask you a question? Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No. No. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
so with your dad, and I can say they typically do come around. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely have faith in that. Um, what about the same sex relationship? What was the difference? As in, because I mean, you've been with men, you've been in those marriages, because you are the wife type. So I
Right.
take that. You want to be wifed up. I get that. And so with that being said, what made and then you pretty much wiped up because in gay years, 7 times 3 years is 21 years. You've been 21 years with this girl. What was it about her, even though she's your first,
Yeah.
to where you saying, I feel safe and comfortable with where I am? What was it about this relationship?
Wow. I wish I had a direct answer for that. It was
Mhm.
just different on all levels. It was softer, if that makes
Mm,
any sense. It was
that's
softer.
big.
Um, yeah, it was softer. It wasn't as hard. It was softer, and it felt right. It's hard to put into words because,
Mhm.
but I will say, I mean, the initial thought that comes to mind is just softer for me. It's
Okay.
not as you have to be superwoman. I need a mom and a wife. I need you to clean this house and do this and do this and do this. Although to some degree that's still expected now, to some degree, but it's not as in black and white. This is more of a gray
Right.
area, if that makes any sense.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Keena. So had this relationship presented itself in your early, let's say, 20s? Yeah, anywhere from early 20s to mid 20s, 20 to 25. Would you have been as open to receiving this kind of relationship?
Not
Or
at all.
okay, so it's just this season in your
Not at all.
life
I
is
wasn't
that's allowing you.
yeah, I wasn't mature enough then. Again, I
Okay.
still had the 20s, I still had my family, not I don't want to say my family, but society or what
Okay.
I was raised in. You can't do this. Like I was still, and again, I was still active duty military. So I was
Yeah.
just like, no, absolutely not. I'm in a different, absolutely not. It would not have been. I would have looked like, girl, if you're going somewhere, like I can't miss with you. Like I ain't going to hell with you. And I'm just being frank. I ain't going to
Yeah.
hell with you. Go somewhere. I mean, it
Yeah.
has. I've been in the military. Women have
Yeah.
flirted. But I was just like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good. So
Well,
no, it would not be the same.
the reason I ask that is because sometimes, right, when people are attracted to someone else who is the same sex, depending on where that person is in their own journey, whether they're open enough to receive that. Like I shared earlier, I was 22, almost about to be 23 before my first sexual or intimate experience with another woman. But I was 20, I think 24, 25 before I actually announced I guess to my family that okay. And really, it wasn't really an announcement. I just basically called my mom and said, "Hey, mom, all them girls that was calling, that was my girlfriend." You know, so basically, that's kind of how that happened. It wasn't all glamorous.
Wow.
And
But
I
you know
think
what? When I look back on it, I
uh-huh,
don't think if I just look back at my 20s, I was not in a mental space. I was
okay,
not mature enough to process it like I'm processing it now. I just
okay,
wasn't. I wasn't.
okay,
I wasn't. Although I had kids and husbands, my mental space was completely different
okay,
now then than it is now. And that's just natural because that's life. We grow up to some degree, but I wouldn't have processed it the same in my 20s as I probably, because life happens. And as life
yeah,
happens, you learn different lessons, you see more stuff. I've seen more since then. So I think that's made it easier. And even being a counselor, I've seen more, I've heard more. So that's exposed me to a lot more. So it made me
ah,
understand it better now. If I
okay,
wasn't a counselor, and I'm willing to say if I was not a counselor, I still would have been like, but
hmm.
because I've seen and heard so much more, been in the field, it's made me process things more. If
Mm.
that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, because
So
they
I
almost
just
like
think
let those
life,
biases go. I get
life
that.
has just happened, and it's allowed me to be able to accept, like, damn, this is where I'm at now. Like, and it's
So,
not, it's okay, So,
so how
yeah.
did the children adjust?
Good.
Woo, that's been hard.
Yeah.
More so for my oldest son. My
Okay,
oldest son is really just now coming around just now. Um, he was upset. I don't even identify. I don't know. I don't want to identify his emotions. I don't want to say it incorrectly, but it took him a while to come around.
okay,
Like he was just like, "Mom, really?"
Mm-hmm.
My youngest son, he's more laid back. He's pretty much down for whatever, so it was easier for him. But
okay,
my oldest son, my baby boy, he was just like, it took him a while to come around.
I
Now,
understand.
I think I may have did it wrong. And I look back when hindsight being 2020. So what I did was we all went out to lunch one day, me, my
okay,
boys, and my partner.
uh-huh.
And I forget how it happened, but my boys just looking like, Ma. They didn't say it, but their eyes was just like,
Yeah,
Ma,
like what's going on?
going on, right? Like I was like, hey, this such and such, Jaden Jeremiah, this, and they just looking like,
They want
okay.
some explanations. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think hindsight, I wish I would have maybe prepared them for it more than I did, because I really
okay,
didn't. I just said here.
okay,
I didn't
okay,
prepare them at all for it.
yeah,
But it took some years. Here we are 3 years in. My oldest son is just now coming around, so
yeah,
it took some time. We
Yeah.
got to think, I know his mama with a man, with their father, or
right,
with their stepfather. So it was
Mhm.
difficult. But I think now they're okay with it to some degree anyway, as far as I know.
okay.
Right.
Yeah. They even
So
talk outside of me being there. And
right,
so I
That's
think,
really healthy.
yeah,
yeah.
That's really healthy.
yeah.
I would say, or I guess my next question is, right? So you have had the conversation with your parents and you've had the conversation with your kids, and being where you are now, because there's people who are going to watch this and they are struggling with trying to tell
Yes.
their family and their loved ones too. What words of encouragement would you offer to them in terms of how to have that conversation with both your parents and with your children?
Wow. So, Keisha, you know me, I'm a very straight, direct, upfront person. I'm not going to try to make it sound soft. I'm just going to tell you only like I know how to do.
Okay.
Walk in your truth. You want to get one shot at this thing called life.
Mm-hmm.
One shot. Make it count. Live your life on your terms. Do what's best for you. If they
Mm-hmm.
love you, they may not accept it. They may not agree with it. But as long as they respect you, just do it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. And I want to say, pray about it.
Okay.
Um, think about it and just do it. Just do it, because why not? These days passing us by. And I would hate for, and I always say this even to my clients to some degree. Life passes us by so fast. And I would hate for something to have happened. Let's just say something, not God forbid, let's say something happened and you're in your deathbed tomorrow. and you only have, let's just say, 24 hours to live. Look back over your time. How would you feel about it? Would you be happy? Would you be pleased with it? Walk in your truth. Look, this is who I am. This is what's happening. I'm not going to live life on your terms. This is what it is. If you love me, this is what it is. So, I mean, just be brave enough to walk in your truth. It'll be okay. I promise it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It has to be.
If I could, for our Bible thumpers that are listening, because y'all already know.
You know they listening.
Yeah.
When someone tells you to live in your truth, one, you have to know what that looks like.
That's right.
And when you sit with yourself and say, okay, there's a broad spectrum of levels of love that I can exist in, whether it's as a lesbian, as a bisexual, as a straight person. It's so the spectrum is broad. You don't even have to pick if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because Keena, you made a statement that was very clear, that was very good, that I want to bring back up. You love who you love. And some people live in that, saying, okay, I don't have to be in a box to say I'm this just because, and people say, well, then you're pansexual. That doesn't mean that. That means whoever, because me personally, yes, I'm a lesbian, never been physically with a man in that aspect. However, I'm demisexual. I only love and sexually attracted for whoever my heart is with. So I ain't throwing it at everybody, because I know I is good. So I ain't throwing it to everybody. But I have to be emotionally there for me to even want it, to me to even see you as attractive.
That's right.
That's the bottom line. So when a person says walk in your truth, you need to sit with yourself and say, I need to maybe get a list and say, let me write out what I like and what I don't
That's
like.
right. That's right. Because a lot of people don't even know what their truth is.
Exactly. And then the scripture that says, and the truth shall make you free. Everybody says set, but that's not what it says. Set because you're not held captive. Truth is when you're made free, it creates, because that's what being made or make means, to create or construct or to like open up a path. So when you find out what that truth is, the path is open and the situation creates itself because you're walking in your truth. And that's where your safety is. And that's when you're truly free. Because when you know what that truth is, it opens up that path so that you can be free. So when you get that in your head, then you can be honest with your partner, because what if you a man that is with a woman, but you really want to be paid, or you really want her to do certain things to you that technically a man would do to you.
Right.
You won't be able to be safe to have that conversation because you haven't said in your truth to realize what needs to be made to make you free. And these conversations is to encourage you, not to jump ship, but to understand, because if you have that conversation, she might be on board with it. You never know.
You never know. Yeah. That's what transparency comes in at.
Exactly. Be honest.
Yes.
And you don't have to hide. This is 2024. We don't care. And so we don't care. I don't care. As long as you ain't doing it to children or the dogs and cats and lambs, then we okay. Other than that, we honestly don't care.
Yeah. I love that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I would only add, and I guess I'm looking from a place or from the audience, right, and the people that follow us. I would hope that the conversation would be that, this is who I'll use myself as an example, right? So if I had to do over with my mom or whomever else, right, I would tell her, I said, Mom, this is not anything that you did or didn't do, right? It's not your fault, right?
That's right.
Exactly. This is me. This is me making this choice, making this decision to live in my authentic self. Now, with that being said, does that mean that you may face ridicule from your peers, right? From your mom, from my grandmother, grandparents, and from my aunts and uncles, or whomever, right? That may be true, but you can send them to me.
That's right.
And if they want to have a conversation, if they're brave enough to have the conversation with me, then we can have that conversation if it is needed. However, if I'm having a conversation with my children, right? So my wife and I, well, my wife has 7 children, and then we had at one point we had my nephew. If I were coming out to them, I would have a conversation, kind of sort of like what it did when myself and my wife merged. But it would be along the lines of, listen, she and I are in a relationship. So there's times like you see when any other relationship where we're going to hold hands, if you guys are comfortable with that. We're going to be engaging in intimacy, maybe we're going to kiss each other and what those things look like, depending on the age of the children. But I need them to understand that we're going to try to provide a healthy environment for you so that we can demonstrate love and what it would look like. It may not be same sex for you, but we're going to do our best to represent what a loving and a healthy relationship is. That means that sometimes we're not going to always agree. That means there's sometimes where somebody's going to have to be a disciplinary and all the other things that come with parenting, but we're also going to love one another and demonstrate love in our household.
That's
So
right.
that's the kind of conversations what I would hope is that people would start having, especially if they find themselves in a position where I'm feeling sort of different about my sexuality and who it is I like, how I identify myself, right? And how I want you guys to treat this person that I may
Right.
bring with me
Right.
to the family reunion, to the picnic, or what have you, right? And then just if they have questions, like you said, Jay, and I'm open to questions too, right?
Right.
I had a lot of my friends, when I did share with them who I was dating, they had questions, right? That didn't mean that they were sexually
Right.
attracted to their same sex. They just had questions about, how I arrived at my decision, right? And
Right.
my choices, right? I will say this, Keena, and I thought about this the other day. You're the only person, right? When we lived where we lived in Florida, you're the only person to ever ask me, is it okay that I come over knowing that I had a significant other that was a woman? You're the only woman that ever asked me that. All my other
She was
friends, they didn't care.
serious.
Right?
She
They ain't
was
care.
serious.
And my significant other at that time, she didn't care either. But you were the only person that ever asked me that.
Because again, I don't want to disrespect. And
Right.
again,
Right.
I didn't want to disrespect because again, I'm a woman, and so I know
Right.
women. And
Right.
although I didn't at that time didn't necessarily agree with the I mean, I ain't gonna say agree, but I didn't understand it. But I
Okay.
still know a woman. So again,
Right.
I'm all about respect. I'm like, I don't want to
Right.
disrespect what you got going on, friend. I love you, friend. Make
Right.
sure you're okay with this. But that's
Yeah.
just how I am as a person. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to also go back to our viewers when you mentioned the statement of how your family said you're going to go to hell. Let's clear that up. There's no scripture, and I searched, that says you're going to hell because of same-sex relationship. Christians frame an ideal of hell as a form of punishment, but it never said that. Never. There's no scripture that says that. So I don't want those who feel that you can't be who you are because of this fear, because there's no scripture that said that. One, because we know what? God is love. So why would he send you somewhere and that don't even exist? Let's start there. For that manner or purpose. So don't think that you being your true authentic self and being free to love who you want, how you want, denotes a morality that is not true. It is fiction. It is what the church constructed to make you feel congested, possessed, and in some type of punishable situation. And it's not true, because that's not that's not what the word's saying. That's not who God is about. So be free to love who you want. Be free to be who you want. Just do it in the right way. So again, if you 20 and she's 15 or he's 15, you're doing it in the wrong way. If it's a dog or a cat, you're doing it in the wrong way. So then therefore, but if there are two consenting adults and you just so happen to be the same sex, even if you want to go to Sodom and Gomorrah, the scripture never even said that it was destroyed because of any form of homosexuality or sodomy. It was destroyed because of lack of hospitality. That ain't got nothing to do with us, because we nice. We invite you to our house. We're really nice to you. So make sure that you're clear and understanding that when somebody puts this burden on you to think that you're violating God because of who you love, it is absolutely not true.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line.
Good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I
that.
would also want to know, since you've been on this rainbow journey, Keena, has the
Come on, Rainbow.
has the LGBTQ family welcomed you in, or have they been a little hesitant, especially based on what you and whom you've dated in the past?
So, I don't get out much. I don't. So I don't have like a big circle
No
of
prides?
I don't have a big circle of LGBT. I don't have that circle. I don't get out much.
Y'all
Now
newbies always want to go with flags and hey.
I don't get out much. Now I do have friends who I've when I was straight there with my friends, they've been extra welcoming and they knew who they are. They listened to this video. I one friend like, girl, I didn't know you. And I had one friend tell me I went to school with her for my bachelor many years ago. She's like, when I first saw you, I wondered if you were going to like women. And she was like, here you are now. I was just like, it's just like you don't know. That's the first thing that goes to your mind if she like women or not. But I've never,
Right.
I don't get out much. So I'm not around this circle too much to answer that question, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't. Not that I don't want
Listen.
to. I just life. So I don't get out that much.
Let me ask you this. So if you're not in a category, that's perfectly fine. But by you having relationship and marriage with men, and I'm pretty sure an attraction is still there, because it doesn't just disappear. It may not be what you want. Do you classify yourself, if any, as a lesbian or bisexual or even pansexual, or just a person, like you said, I love who I love?
It's a good question.
Ooh, I so hate you right now. So I'm not into labels.
Okay.
So I don't know if when I identify myself as being bisexual. Because if this relationship does not work out, I cannot say that. But man, personally, I won't respond. So I cannot say that. I'm not saying I won't, but I won't say I will. So I guess that's bi. I don't know. It's only man and woman. That's it for me.
No, it's some.
I don't know if there's a label.
I get that.
I'm just at this point right now in this season of my life, I'm with this woman. So I don't really believe in
like
labels.
that.
I don't like the label thing. I'm with the woman right now.
Yeah. Because I know like one of my sisters, they told me, I know what they do, but it was one that told me she considered herself pan only because, like you stated, she loved who she loved, but her restrictions are she wouldn't date a transgender person.
Oh no, I would not. No, I'm not.
She wouldn't do that. And that's a lot. I can respect that. So that's her boundary. She was like, I just
respect for that community. It has to be a man or now a woman for me, obviously, because I'm with a woman now.
Yeah,
that's it for me.
Right. Okay. Well, so let me back up just a little bit, right? So we talked about, the conversation you have with your families and your loved ones or whatever. Has anything else within your life structure changed, right? So you mentioned that you don't go out a whole lot, but now that you're somewhat comfortable in your own skin, you guys go out to dinner. Do you still get the stares or the discomfort from other people, or is it kind of relaxed now?
I do. Even people, I do. I think there's an expectation that she'll be straight. So I bring my partner with me. They're like women, like
okay.
So I think there's always an expectation that I'm going to be with a man, but when I'm walking in my partner, they're just kind of like they never say no, but you see on their face, they're just kind of like,
got it.
Yeah, okay. This was happening. I'm not going. I'm just.
You got to tell them hoes to shut up.
Like even for tonight, we have an event planned for tonight.
Yeah.
And I anticipate, walking, they're gonna be like, she with a woman? Yeah. This is, so I think there's an initial shock factor. Because I'm a very private person. I don't talk a lot. I don't put my business, I don't talk too much. So I think again, because that's just culture. You see with a woman, they're just like, there's an initial shock factor. So I'm used to it at this point.
Yeah. Well, so I will say this. I always encourage my friends, regardless of who they are. And I have straight friends who are married, right? And I always explain to them, I said, listen, if we're all gonna go out, make sure you let, whomever aware that I am coming and that my wife is coming, right?
Yeah, so no one's uncomfortable.
Surprises.
Right.
And no one's shocked,
It's too different because I'm just like, look, I'm coming. This is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm like, you ain't gotta be there. I'm gonna eat regardless. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
shit
That
what you ate.
part.
Yeah.
And that's all thing because I'm like, I'm not gonna shit what you ate. So if you uncomfortable, that's something
You
you
need to
have to
eat.
work out
That's
in
right.
yourself. Because
That's
it's
Yeah.
like
right.
even what I say with men, a man that is so bothered by a gay man, you need to check what's wrong with you. Because you're
Yeah.
the only one itching because you mad. Like nobody, like we do have taste buds. We ain't coming out. Well, I know I ain't. I can't say for all of these hoes, but I'm like, we are not chasing after you just because you a
Just because
woman.
you're a
Like
woman. Right.
I have
Right.
a taste, I have a
Right.
type, I have a
Right.
classification that
That's
you need
right.
to fit in. I've never been out there, oh, come in because you're a girl. No, if you ugly, you ugly. And I trust me, I don't do ugly.
You don't do ugly, huh?
I don't do ugly.
I
Because I'm
can't.
not waking up to a mongoose. We're not doing
Right.
it. Because you're not waking up to a mongoose. Whether I had my locks, whether I had hair, whether I got you're not waking up to a mongoose. Why should I? Just because I choose his life. We're not doing that. And it's up and a lot, and that maybe that's a stereotype of lesbians to where they always take the riffraff and it's okay, or the sickly. Let me jump on that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not marrying you just to bury you. I'm not gonna be with you and be your caretaker. I'm not that gay. I want to be able to walk on the sunset. And I told my wife this, you better get healthy. So I'm not doing this. And I had somebody tell me that's what's wrong with people. You need to accept them. I have a choice. I don't have to accept you and your illness because that's not how my life is set up. Get your shoes on. Let's go out here and go travel, live our life, build an empire.
That's
I'm
right.
not sitting here taking you to your doctor's appointments. Now, if you got sick while we was together, that's something
That's
different.
different. Right.
But if you were sick before we got there, I got a choice to walk away, and I have. I've done that. Call me what you want. I ain't taking care of you.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying, Jay, and unfortunately, I met some people in my life that had just maybe discovered that they were ill, right? I remember this one particular lady. She had just got diagnosed with cancer, and I felt like that was way too much for me to handle at that
Exactly.
age,
Too much.
right? And even we were just talking, right? Like she wasn't my
Wow.
girlfriend or anything, but that was way too much. So I mean, I stayed around, as her friend, but in
Mhm.
terms of anything romantic or intimately, we ain't go down that road, right? Because for that same reason, right? I don't want to. That's too much for me
That's
to
right. To
have to
It's
walk
deal with.
too
into.
much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
And we
get
got
that.
that right.
Yeah,
And I
and
don't
we're
know
just
why
getting to
people
know each
don't
other.
accept that as it's too much. Like, I'm trying to live my life. I want to have years. And again, I got sick as married with
Hmm.
cancer. So my wife was there.
You got
But
what?
it's like if it was before that, and I hate to say it, a lot of lesbians use that sickness as a form. That's a trauma situation that I can't deal with. That's not
Mm,
the energy I want to be in.
mm.
And again, and I remember dating way before my wife. Let me make sure she know that I was dating this young lady and I was really into her. But when she started to pull out that damn notepad of illnesses, and I said, okay, I don't care how pretty you is, this is not for me. And I was upfront about it. That I can't marry you to bury you. One, you're gonna cause my insurance to go up because that means I have
For
to
sure.
add because as a lesbian, I'm gonna add you to my benefits because I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure you're taken care of. So with
That's
that being said, you're gonna run my premium up. I got my premium back last year because I didn't go to the doctor like that. So I can't take on that burden. Second of all, your medication is going to be out of pocket. I'm not taking on that burden. And something wrong with your kids, it ain't that damn serious to me. I'm
Yeah.
bringing you a clean bill of health. Why can't
Yeah.
you do the same? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You
I
cost
get
too
it.
much, just the thought. And I
I get
think that to me, that's a stigma that we have that you hauling and I just accept you. I don't. I need to know what's wrong with you.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Why are you coughing
That's
like
right.
that? My
That's
wife,
right.
no, I hate snorting. Don't snort snot in front of me. Don't do it.
Hmm.
That's a
That's
that's a
good.
deal breaker.
Right.
So
Right.
no, and I think when people realize that, listen, you have options, you don't have to accept everything.
You
It
don't.
just opens up so many opportunities of you being so happy with a person, not because, well, don't come upstairs. Exactly. I ain't coming upstairs. But but it opens up so much to relationships to where people don't feel forced. And because when you get with somebody, you want to be able to
Enjoy them. That's right.
life.
That's right.
I don't want to push you in a wheelchair right now. I'm not ready. I'm boo boo. I'm living. I didn't marry you to push you on the beach. I want to walk on the beach. What's wrong
Yeah.
with your legs?
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, what I feel like sometimes, Jay, like you said, I don't know if that's really their intention, right? If they're dating to go to see if someone, is going to take care of them.
Right.
Sometimes I feel like those things happen, but there may be a small group of lesbians, right, who are out there hunting for somebody to, maybe they call them a
Hunting?
sugar baby. Yeah. Listen, I call it hunting, right? You out there, you look, I don't whatever. They might be searching the hospital halls or what. I don't know. They hanging out at the cafeteria, wherever they at.
They looking right.
Yeah, right. Wherever they at. Just make sure, you're not picking up somebody else's baggage and carrying things that don't
Right.
necessarily belong to you. That's all we're saying. But like you said, when you're in a marriage and that person falls ill and through sickness and through health, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm here with you.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I have to go seek out somebody who's in the CVS just picking up whatever medicine. I don't know.
Right.
We're not doing that. We're not.
Yeah, right.
We're not doing that in 2024 or 2020.
Absolutely. So Keena, we're about to wrap this up here. We got about 9 minutes or so, but help us understand, okay, where you are now in life. You're loving this new relationship. You're adjusting to, people living, adjusting to your authentic life, right, and your true self. And they may not all necessarily get there as quickly as you want them to.
Right.
But what would you say to your associates or the people who are not quite yet on board? What would you want to say to them now?
This is who I am. Take it or leave it. It's not going to change. Okay. Judge not, yet you not be judged. Yeah. This is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to make you uncomfortable. I'm sorry if you feel like it goes against your beliefs, your values. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. No, let me take that back. I'm not sorry. Because this is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for your discomfort. I'm not. I did me. I'm not going to do that. So love me for me, not because of who I love. Love me for who I am as a person. This is who I am. Take it or leave it.
So can I piggyback off that?
Absolutely.
And ask you from a therapist standpoint and a person that came in at this point of life, what are some tips or tools that you can provide to a person that is, one, considering it, two, want to be able to have those hard conversations, or where they're not necessarily there of saying, accept me who I am?
Yeah.
How can we help somebody maybe have that conversation?
Find your support system or support person.
Okay.
Because that always helps. Find you a friend, a sister, find somebody you can talk to. Process your emotions, process your thoughts. Journaling is always good.
Okay.
Meditation is always good. Whatever, there's tons of coping skills. Running, writing. Find your coping skill. But set time to process just you by yourself.
Okay.
How you're thinking and how you're feeling. If you have peace with what your decision is, go forward. It's going to be hard and it's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to do it. Find you a support system. And I can't stress that enough, because guess what? I didn't have one.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say I didn't have it, because I'm sure I had Keisha. And I actually did to some degree. But in the initial stages of it, I was just like, they're going to judge me. I'm going to be an outcast. Like, I didn't have anybody to process them, so I held that in. And guess what that caused me to feel for a long time? Depressed. It caused a lot of depression. So get it out. Don't hold it in.
Right.
Trying to get to release that, whether that's you do a pastor, a friend. Don't hold it in. Process it in one way, shape, or another. And I think that'll make the process a lot easier for you. Don't hold it in. Do not hold it in.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
My fear is that some people will be hesitant because they
Right.
don't quite understand what it is they're dealing with and what
And
it
what
is they're
they're
going
feeling. I think a
through.
lot
Right.
of times when you feel, you're like,
Mm.
what am I feeling? Like, what is this
Yeah.
that's happening right now? Like,
Yeah.
this can't be right. Find you a counselor.
Yeah.
Find
Have
Are
somebody
to.
to
you
talk.
accepting appointments?
I'm sorry.
Are you accepting
I am
appointments?
accepting appointments. I do virtual, so absolutely yes. Find
So
somebody
y'all
to
hear
talk
that? She's
to. Yes,
accepting appointments with
find you a
somebody
counselor
who can help you on a personal level and truly understand where you are and help
who's
you
not
navigate.
biased. Not biased. No
Not
fight. No
right.
dog in the fight. Find somebody who can talk to.
How can they reach you?
I'll put my information in the chat, my website, my phone number to call me direct or email me directly to get you scheduled. Absolutely. I'll do that just now.
Perfect, perfect. So while you're typing that, Kina, I just want to say, I'll add my 2 cents. Like I said, I was in my early 20s or mid 20s, I guess, when I initially had that conversation with my parents, and I don't have any
Mm.
kids. So I wouldn't have had to speak to anybody. But outside of, let's say, my mom, I didn't necessarily feel as though I owed anyone else, right?
Right.
Grandparents. Well, I think my grandmother's already passed away. So my grandfather, uncles, siblings, even my siblings, right? I think to some degree they knew they were waiting for me to confirm, right? Whether
Mhm.
their love for me changed, I didn't feel it. Right, I can't say that that was my experience, and I'll also add to that. I really don't. At that point, I was at a place where I didn't care whether
You don't
they did or
care.
didn't. You
Right.
know, so and then my father, I think we never had that conversation. It was just, well, this is what it is. You want to meet my wife? you know, it, it,
Exactly.
it really wasn't. So, but I want other people who are listening and who are struggling with whether to determine what it is that they're dealing, what it is that they're processing, how they feel, that to find, like Kina said, an outlet, or find some person whom you trust to have those conversations and kind of walk through it. And if it needs to be a therapist, then she's taking appointments. But you don't have to hold on to that, deal with those feelings, process those feelings by
Okay,
yourself.
so that's right.
We
Mm-mm.
can
That's
help
right.
you navigate those conversations with, whether it's with your immediate family or with your children, right? And here's another
That's
thing, right? As parents,
Right.
what if your kid comes to you and say, "Hey, mom, I'm feeling this way or feeling that way." Do we provide an environment for our children to safely come to us and share with us what it is that they're processing,
you're
what it
really
is they're
feeling.
dealing with?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
right. So we have to ask ourselves that,
Right.
are we creating a safe
Safe
space for
place.
our
That's right.
children to come to us when they have concerns about who it is they like that may be different from what our expectations are, right?
That's right. That's
Mhm.
right.
But you and if I could say another part that a lot of people don't take in consideration is that it seems like LGBTQIA is becoming more of a norm. It's still
Mm,
some barriers and obstacles. It's becoming of the norm. So it's almost like you almost have to prepare yourself for your children to come to you about their straightness, and you still have to be accepting of them
Right. Right.
because we have to keep in mind that I jokingly say when my 4-year-old come to me, she might like a boy, and I have to prepare for that if I want that for her life or not. But we have to, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is we need to make sure that we're preparing a person to love in general. It
That's right.
mhm,
doesn't matter about your
Who you
sexuality.
are. That's
It
right.
because sexuality and who you want to hump on should not be the number one conversation unless it's bringing up a concern on why you feel the need to do it versus we're looking at it from a perspective of love. If you love this person because you're having these emotions, let's talk through that. Let's
mhm,
filter it through because we don't want you to live a life of angry and emotions because
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
not happy with yourself, you're not happy with your partner,
Right.
and whether you can let them go to be them.
Right.
mm.
Remember that
That's good.
movie, what Mr. Deeds with Tyler Perry?
Yeah.
And at the end, he was marrying Gabrielle Union, and they
Mhm.
made the conscious decision. We really don't even want to be married to each other. And
Yeah.
y'all know it's okay. It's okay. And we're here. We got a
Mhm.
resource for you. We can always point you in the best direction, for you to make the best decision for your life on wherever you are.
That's
Hmm.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I want to add this last little note, and it just came to me. I have a couple kids that are in the LGBTQ, and I don't recall any of them coming to us and saying, this is what it is. We just kind of
They
found
just
out. Like,
It's
well,
like,
this,
hey, that
this is what it is. Yeah. So there was never a conversation. But again, I think the generation that's after us, they're more comfortable in their feelings and what it is that they're dealing with than we are, right? So they're more
right.
prepared to accept, or maybe they just
But
assume
it's
we
a different
accept.
generation.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Right.
more accepting now than they were in our
Right.
time growing up. They're a lot more accepting now. So I mean, it's to be expected. You can do just about anything nowadays. You see stuff I see in my school. I'm like, but the generation is different.
They're
So
okay. And it's like we're actually having a problem with it, just like what Keisha said. It's like because back in our day, you either was gay or straight, then you went to gay, lesbian, straight, then you became, oh, you're a bulldagger. It's like it was so many, you kind of break it out. Now it's so much, you're like, I'm
I don't
lost.
even know.
You
Right,
can be
right,
who you want. As long as you
right.
don't come in and break into my house, we're okay.
I know
Do
that's
what you
right.
want.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Keena, thank you so much again for taking our time on this Friday evening and adjusting your schedule. We appreciate it.
Thank
We love
you.
you. Jay, have a great balance of your day. I know you got some big plans later. Shay,
Happy
thank you so much again.
anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary to you both.
Thank you.
Happy
Absolutely.
anniversary.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. Well, Keena, again, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
to all our
having me.
listeners, the people who have
Thank you, Kena.
commented. We are going to get your contact information. We're going to post it on underneath here, as well as our Facebook and our YouTube page for those people who need to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Until next week, everybody, please keep a regal mindset and take a look at this clip as we close out.
Juices.